ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 Now let us see where we are. Yes. So the last argument we saw was this the nanu sadasmi iti buddhimatramiha iha kartavyataya chodyate natu ajñatam sadasi iti jnapyate iti chet. And so we saw this argument, and what is that argument? That Tattvamasi is a sentence that is conveying, it's not conveying anything, it is just a way to get into a good mood instantly. How? Keep on saying, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Why? Because you very well know that you don't feel like Brahman, you are certainly not acting like Brahman, but then the Shastra is there that describes Brahman as Bhagavan, and Bhagavan is all pervasive, and Bhagavan is wonderful, and Bhagavan is limitless, and then you keep saying, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, etc., etc., etc. And then what happens? You get into a good mood. Either that or you become very depressed. Let's not go there. But let's say you get into a good mood. Let's be optimistic. And so this is where we have to look at Sattvam Asi or Tattvam Asi. This is the contention. And it was shot down very nicely by Bhashyakara, very detailed. He simply says no. That is not the case. And because, that is not the case. Why? Because there are two sentences. You cannot selectively take, the point of this whole thing is you cannot selectively take sentences that you like and construe it to your own imaginary ideas about what you want the Shruti to say. I want the Shruti to say it is okay to have chocolate cake. So I'm going to look at all the sentences that say it is okay to have chocolate cake, and then I'm going to have chocolate cake. This is what people do. And even with, the Vastu Shastra, building of houses, etc. The house may not face this particular direction. It is written there. Oh, but then, there is no other option. So what to do? Let us do some parihara. Let us look at some other book, some other dharma shastra, some other something, and then make it okay. This is basically somehow putting into the shastra, putting words in the mouth of the shastra that are not there. And this is what the Purva Paksha does. And why does the Purva Paksha do this? The Purva Paksha does this because the Purva Pakshi symbolizes a person who is extremely opinionated. and has a lot of notions, some notion or the other, this, that, or the other, some notion or the other, the person has, and the person is extremely opinionated, and then the person broadcasts those notions, and not content to just broadcast the notions, tries to fit in the notions into whatever the Shruti is saying, so that the Shruti is basically molded to what the ideas that one has about oneself, about the Jagat, and about Ishvara, and the relationship to all those things. And so now, so therefore, Bhashyakara gives two particular, what should I say, two particular sentences to show that you cannot really do this, because if you do this, the other sentences will be falsified. And what are they? The first one is, of course, the famous Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The centrality of having a guru was was drilled into us with the story of the lost businessman from Gandhara. Having been drilled into us the story of the lost businessman, now we know that without a teacher this knowledge is not gained. And if this knowledge is gained, if moksha is so simple as sitting in one place and saying aham brahmasmi, thinking yourself to be Brahman, then the teachers will all be out of a job. The swamis will not have anything to do, and and neither will all the commentaries, the tikas, and what else, the bhashyas, the vartikas, karikas, all those things. All those things no use. We have a huge compendium of secondary literature, the interpretations, and according to the parampara, everything. The whole lineage is, it's like a 8,000-year-old shastra, and you can imagine how much people have written. So all that would be useless, because those are all teachers who are writing. Those are all teachers who have gone in the past, who have appeared, and they are writing, and so all that will be useless. And that compendium of secondary granthas, prakarana granthas, manana granthas, will be anartha. And then what else will be anartha? Your own, you don't need to seek a teacher. Vedanta is doing a headstand. How? DIY Vedanta. Do it yourself. Oh, thank you. That's always something that I wanted to do. I love do it yourself. Yes, do it yourself. Think yourself to be Brahman, and then see how that goes for you. So, therefore, the centrality of the teacher is it cannot be falsified or nullified in this Shastra. This is one thing we said. And the other one, which was not very clear to many people, and there was a question also about this, and what was that? Tasya tavadeva chiram yavanna vimokshye. Vimokshate, we had to read, but anyhow, that is how it was. Tasya tavadeva chiram yavanna vimokshye, meaning that there is a sentence here that tasya means for the person of knowledge. Tasya jnaninaha, for this person of knowledge, for this jnani, what? Tavadeva chiram. Chiram means the length of time between the gain of the knowledge and what is called videha mukti, meaning being free of the limitations that one, the so-called limitations one experiences as a result of having hands and legs and having a finite body and an even finite mind, etc. There is the delay is only so much, meaning there is a time gap, there could be a time gap between the gain of the knowledge and the experience of, we can't even call it experience of, and that limitlessness and freedom from that body. So when the deha patat anantaram, so when after the body drops, then the person is not born again, doesn't take up another limited body, this was said. So then, if moksha is as simple, this is Adi Shankara's, comeback. So if moksha is as simple as thinking, aham sadasmi, sadasmyaham, sadasmyaham, etc., etc., if moksha is as simple as that, then what happens? Then 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 moksha is instantaneous, supposedly. Then the sentence that there is a time gap between that true limitlessness, meaning not being even burdened by the body, mind complex, etc., and is not there. The time gap between the gain of the knowledge and the dropping of the body is not there. And so this is where we had stopped. And then where Bhagavan Bhashyakara says that these are all, these such sentences become useless. Such sentences become useless. And then further, there is a little bit of an involved discussion, even though there is very little left, but still there is a little bit of an involved discussion. So what does it say? Tasya kshepakaranam sakrit buddhimatra karne moksha prasangat न युक्तम सदात्मत तत्वे अविज्ञाते अपि सकृत बुद्धिमात्र करणे मोक्ष प्रसंगात. So like there is that what is that, it's the same thing, we have already seen it, meaning if moksha is gained immediately, the immediacy of moksha by repeating aham brahmasmi, if that is the case, then this is not yuktam. Tasya tavadeva chiram iti kshepakaranam na yuktam syat. So then this sentence becomes nullified, this sentence becomes useless. And then further, nacha tattvamasi iti ukte naham sat iti pramana vakya janita buddhi nivartaitum shakya. Very nice, wonderful. This is what I said. It's a little bit of an involved discussion. So let us see what it is trying to say. So here the contention, the Bhashyakara's view here is that this upadesha, what is the upadesha? Tattvamasi iti upadesha, and is not opposed to whatever ideas you may be having about yourself, including the idea na aham sat. Na aham sat. It's not opposed to ignorance. It is not opposed to ignorance at all. And this, so how to explain this? When you say tattvamasi to a person who is qualified with the knowledge, qualified for this knowledge, along with all the methodology that is needed, when this is told, then what happens? Something happens for that person to change their idea about themselves. This is what happens. Something happens where they understand. Just like when the person is told, when the person is getting scared in the garden at twilight after seeing an object in the dark, and then the person is told, after giving them a flashlight, the person is told, okay, this is not a snake. So then what happens? The snake buddhi retreats, and then the reality is understood. So in other words, the rope which is the adhisthana is big enough to accommodate the snake. So in other words, the rope is not opposed to being seen as a snake. It doesn't get offended, it doesn't get upset, it doesn't feel bad. Oh, I am such a wonderful rope, I am always being misunderstood, etc., etc. It is not doing any of those things. So the rope is not upset that it is being perceived as a snake. Because rope is rope. So the aropa, that's why it's called rope. Okay, so the aropa upon this rope is not going to make the rope lose its ropeness. And just because of ajnanam there is an aropa upon the rope, then just because of that, that doesn't mean that the rope will start to bite like the snake or start to slither away. No, the rope is still rope. The rope takes on the aropa, as it were, without really taking it on. It's a misnomer. This is what it is. It's a mistaken idea. So therefore what? So therefore, so likewise, in the similar manner, in the same manner, when the adhikari, along with all the pedagogy, is told, what is the adhikari told? You are Sat, you are Jagat Karanam Brahma, and that Sat is the Devata, which has taken on these three forms due to Trivrit Karanam, Trivrit Ekaika Bhavati, Imaha Tisro Devataha, and then these three Devatas are the in the form of fire, water, etc. And then they have entered this body, they have entered, as it were, this mind, and they have entered the senses. And so you intimately experience all these devatas. When the person is told, then what is that? It is a pramana vakya. It is the result of a pramana pravritti, the operation of the pramana. It's a pramana vakya. It's showing something. And then it is producing something. What does it produce? It produces, it produces what is called vritti jnanam. Vritti jnanam means the knowledge which is in the form of a thought, a mental frame. And so that, and what is that vritti? What is that thought? Sad aham asmi iti jnanam. This is the knowledge that is to be born. And then who is this knowledge born to? The one who already thinks asad aham asmi. It's not a person with a clean slate. The person already has some notions. Aham karta, aham bhokta, aham pramata, I am this much only, I am an idiot, and I am so lowly, and I cannot forgive myself, and I am dull, I am manda, and I am not very good in Sanskrit, and all these ideas, the person who has, look at the homework from last week, I am not very good, and all these ideas. And so therefore, this is, the person is not coming from a clean slate. The person is already full of ideas. Because the adhikari, prior to becoming an adhikari, what happened? Thought of herself or himself as karta, bhokta, pramata, etc. Now the point that Adi Shankara is making is that the knowledge of oneself as asat cannot inhibit the correct knowledge of oneself as sat. Just like when the rope is misunderstood as the snake, and then upon being, and the person who is misunderstanding the rope is told, what is the person told? No, this is rope. And then what? The snake has to go. And similarly, Shastra Pramana is not inhibited by the wrong knowledge the person had. Because the Shastra Pramana by nature is Nivartakam. Even though we say it produces knowledge, it produces the vritti jnanam, but it is 9/10 Nivartakam. Nivartakam means what? To that which goes away, that which should go away. And then 9/10 it is Nivartakam. Because it is a vritti jnanam which removes ignorance, which eliminates wrong understanding. So then, what, as a result of the buddhi which is utpanna. The buddhi which is born of this knowledge says, Naham karta, Naham bhokta. And what am I? Aham brahmasmi. This is what the thing is. And then Adi Shankara is going to point out soon that as long as there is a human body is there, then there will be ignorance. And as long as ignorance, what else will be there? Samsara. As long as samsara there, some sorrow or other will be there. That's why it's called samsara. And then, so therefore, it becomes a maxim. As long as there is a human upadhi, there will be samsara. And so therefore, this is just like this maxim. Say, as long as Vedanta Vakya is used as a pramana, it is bound to produce the knowledge that one is Sat. And how does it do? It does it by eliminating all other things. So as long as there is adhikaritvam, the knowledge has to take place. That's why the adhikaritvam is very important. And so therefore, so that's what the whole thing is. And so now, Adi Shankara changes the topic to a related topic. He discusses this concept of apurvata finally, and then this is what he says. So he says, Sarvopanishad Vakyanam Tatparataya Eva Upakshayat Yatha Agnihotradi Vidhi Janita Agnihotradi Kartavyata Buddhinam Atatharthatvam Anutpannatvam Va Nashakyate Vaktum Tadvat. So here there is a certain, he is responding to this. This is all very technical. So there is a certain contention in the Veda that the Veda is always asking you to do something. It is a kriya. It is a kriyapara. It is kriyaparaha Vedaha. So the Veda is what? It is wanting you to do something all the time. So the entire Veda has this sadhana and sadhya connection, means and ends. And then that sadhya, that which is to be gained, the ends are hitam. Hitam means they are good for you. That is what that is. And then they are hitam and they are anadhikata, they are not understood by any other way, any other means, and then it is arthavat, it is meaningful, and then therefore this is what makes it a pramana. The whole Veda is a pramana, not just Vedanta. And so the Shastra is a means of knowledge to talk about whatever there is to talk about that you cannot know by any other means. It is useful, phalavat arthabodhakam. And so, unlike the pratyaksha pramanani, the Shastra pramana is a deliberate pramana. I mean, look at this. How is it deliberate? Like close your eyes and then open your eyes, and immediately whatever is the object of sight that is remaining to be seen is immediately evident to you. So the pramana operates by itself. You don't will the eyes to see. So there is really zero willpower involved in the operation of pratyaksha pramana. Same thing in the operation of Shastra pramana also. But here what happens is that, when you, or just like when you open the eyes, you see the mountains, the stars, the river, etc. And, the Shastra pramana is different, because if you don't see the mountains, the rivers and stars, it's not going to make such a big difference to your life. This is the idea. So then what? Then here in the Veda Pramana, unlike the eyes, it is in the form of words that have to be understood, that have to be grasped by a mind that is prepared. So certain preparation is involved, certain prerequisites are involved, all these things are involved. And then it is in the form of words. And then what does it convey? Whatever it conveys, it should be phalavat anadhigata, because it should not be available for any other means of knowledge. And so therefore the karmathas, all of them say that all the Veda Vakyas are asking you to do something or the other so that you can get what you want. So the Veda is full of varieties of sadhana and sadhya. And this is a particular one-sided thinking, ekadeshi thinking of some karmatha. So some, the Purva Mimamsakas. The Purva Mimamsakas who are into karma, they keep talking like this. And this particular thinking is dismissed by Adi Shankara by saying, Ayam Atma Brahma, all the Mahavakyas, Tattvamasi, etc., they are also anadhigata, they are also not available for any means of knowledge, and then they are also not known through any other way, and they are phalavat, they are useful because you discover your nature, and as a result of discovering the nature, you become free of samsara, which is a life of constantly becoming something or the other, mostly becoming sadder and sadder. And so this is still anadhigata, that you are Brahman is not known. How will you know it? And similarly, just like the first portion of the Veda says, the jiva does not die, jiva survives death, and this survivor is something to be known. This is something to be known by the Shastra alone. Vedanta talks more about this jiva and says, this jiva, which is the one who is busy doing one yajna after another, accruing points to go to heaven and all the other lokas, and doing this puja, that puja all the time to collect some punya, is the one who is Jagat Karanam Brahma, is one with the cause of the universe. The Jagat, what is this Jagat? It's not independent of the seer. It is not independent of the object which is seen. So the truth of the knower known is the truth of the Jagat, which is you. So the Karanam, the cause, is not away from this knower known situation. How is this going to be known? How is this this Karanam, the Karya, Karanat Anyat? How is it how are you going to know that all the Karyas are not away from Karana? It's not understood. So therefore, Sarvopanishad Vakyanam Tatparata eva upakshayat jiveshvara ekatva parataya eva. So all the words of the Upanishad, not just this Upanishad, unfold the oneness which here is described as Tattvamasi. This vision is not unique to this particular Veda, but it occurs everywhere. See, which is why we quote 4 Mahavakyas, each one unique to one Veda. Ayam Atma Brahma, Atharva Veda, Tattvamasi, Sama Veda, Aham Brahmasmi, Yajur Veda, Prajnanam Brahma, Rig Veda. And then it is not that there are only 4 Mahavakyas. That would be a great disservice to even think like that. There are many Mahavakyas, but these 4 are quoted to point out that all the Vedas have a ekaparata, meaning a kind of a single purpose. Tatparata. All the words of the Vedanta resolve after revealing Tattvamasi. That's all they do. That's why we have a sutra in the Brahma Sutra, the 4th one, Tattu Samanvayat. Samanvaya means there is no internal contradiction in this vision, and there is no external contradiction coming from somewhere else either. This is what this is what the whole thing is. We have to understand. And then then there are certain sentences like yavat jivam yavat jivam agnihotrena juhuyat. So some things like that are there in the Veda. As long as you are alive, you please keep on offering Agnihotra. Swargakamah jyotishtho mena yajeta. So may the person desiring heaven do this particular homa, jyotishtoma. And then it's a compendium of desires, full of all kinds of topics, because the human gamut of human desires are so huge that the first portion of Veda is a mind spinning compendium of all kinds of desires, full of ling, lot, tavya sentences. What are ling, lot, tavya sentences? Ling means there are this whatever potential mood, and then lot, imperative mood, tavya, some other suffixes which have the sentence of have to be done, have to be studied, have to be performed. So these are all in the form, when you want to have injunctions, we use these particular moods and tenses. Ling, lot and tavya. May one do it. This should not be done. It should be done. And all the shoulds and woulds and everything, they are used to enjoin the karmas done by the people. Born of these vakyas, Agnihotra should be done. And this knowledge takes place. And this vakya has sense. This vakya makes sense. Varga kamaha jyotishto mena yajeta. It makes sense. It has a subject, it has an object, it has, everything. It's meant to give rise to a particular buddhi that is committed to doing that particular karma. So you cannot say it, anupapattatvam, anupapannatvam syat, you cannot say. You cannot say it is meaningless. You cannot say it is untenable, because the pramana vakya has its own meaning. So if you are able to see that the first portion of the Vedas enjoining one to do this, do that, not do this, not do that, which is in the form of all kinds of, injunctions and prohibitions, vidhi nishedha the paravakyas, if it has, then why can't the same courtesy be applied to the pramana vakya tattvamasi? That it is making sense, that it has a meaning. You cannot say it doesn't have a meaning. You look at the Shastra with your own buddhi that it is making you to do something. It's not always making you to do something. And then you cannot interpret. You cannot say that the Shastra does not say Agnihotra doesn't exist or Agnihotra is not possible to do. Similarly, you cannot say the Mahavakyas are meaningless. And then what else? He demolishes very nicely each and every point the Bhashyakara demolishes one by one, put forth by the Purva Pakshi. And that's not a big deal. He demolishes that with patience, without any intellectual slack, right up till the end. He is very engaged. Maybe people are thinking, okay, 3-4 lines, how long is it going to go on? When is it going to finish? We have waited patiently, but he is not thinking that. He is not thinking, when will I finish this and go to some other bhashya after this? I have to write bhashyas for 10 Upanishads, and at this rate I'll never finish. And he is not thinking like this. There is no intellectual slack. If you see the speeches by people, sometimes people have starting trouble. They don't they don't know how to start, and some people don't know how to end. How to end? They don't even know when to end. Okay, and then and then some people can start and end well, but they don't know what to say in the middle. But for Adi Shankara, it is consistent throughout. Throughout there is a consistency, and so there is no impatience in the way he is dealing with each and every point, and there is no intellectual slacking. There is no derision of the opponent. There is a derision, there is a critique of the words and the thoughts, and the opinions, but he doesn't condescend to or deride the opponent, and then neither does he put forth the points with needless vehemence. Very, very nice. So then, this is, this is something which is to, which he needs to do this, because everybody has this hidden Purva Pakshi sitting inside their brain, that it's not enough to know that one is Sadatma. You have to do something. Perhaps some action is needed. Perhaps one should meditate, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Or perhaps one should think of oneself as Sat. So all these contentions were based on this assumption. And what is that? The statement gives rise to various options. If Atma, and the options are what? If Atma is Sat, then if Atma is I, how come I do not know this? That is the thought which gave rise to all these, contentions. And that is why, he systematically demolishes all these assumptions, and he tackles the original assumption that has given rise to the contentions. What is the original assumption? The original assumption is Naham Sat, I am not Sat. And why is there this assumption? Avidya, self-ignorance. So now he is going to tackle, at the very end, he is going to tackle the concept of what is this self-ignorance. He is going to bring out very nicely. So let us look at that. Where did that go? Yeah, not this. I lost the, here it is. So, Bhashya, here it is, yeah. Okay. So, Yattu uktam sadatma san atmanam katham na vijaniyaditi. So, here you asked a question. How come Shvetaketu is, this knowledge is about Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu doesn't know himself. How is that possible? Everybody should know. I mean, if you are Brahman, the idea is you should know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, how can you be Brahman? This is the idea. And so he is going to now take up this whole contention. Na asau doshaha. There is no problem in this. Karya karana sanghata vyatirikta aham jivaha karta bhokta iti api swabhavatah praninam vijnana adarshanath. So, what to talk of I am Brahman? Even the knowledge that the aham, the I, is distinct from the body, mind, sense complex, and the ahankara is the karta and bhokta, is not known to the general masses. That the I is dehad, from the body it is vilakshana. This aham is dehad vilakshana is not known. That it survives death. How do you know the body survived death? Shastra Vedya. It is known from the Shastra alone, through the Shastra Pramana. Unless the person has Pramanya Buddhi, the person will not even know this much. What to talk of being Jagat Karanam Brahma? Without being told by the elders who have studied the Shastra, even this much one is not understanding that the body survives death, that the Jiva travels. And this is all Shastraika Vedya. This is understood only by the Shastra, and what to talk of the understanding I am birthless and deathless, free from beginning to end, and I am the cause of all that is here, is impossible to gain without a means of knowledge that one has. So then, therefore, the Mahavakya here has both Apurvata, Anadhigatatvam and Phalatvam. It is unavailable for other means of knowledge, and it has the immediate release, the promise of the immediate release from samsara, from the struggle to become this, that or the other, freedom from smallness, freedom from alienation, and total as its phala, fruit. And then so therefore, how will the person know without being taught? Even in your first portion of the Veda, the person doesn't know that they survive death and they need punya in order to go to lokas. Even that you have to tell them. So this is a far cry. So this also they need instruction. So it is possible to know. Kimutasya sadatma vijnanam. So what to talk of atma vijnanam? Atma vidya. कथम एवं व्यतिरिक्त विज्ञाने सति तेषां कर्तृत्वादि विज्ञानं संभवति दृश्यते च. So further, this is something, he is asking a question. व्यतिरिक्त विज्ञाने सति, the कार्य कारण संघात युक्त जीवः अहम, aham karta karma phala bhokta is corollary to this understanding. In order to go through these experiences of punya now, papa now, bhoktritvam now, and then assuming various bodies, how was this knowledge gained? Some people gained this knowledge. And how did they gain this knowledge? They gained this knowledge from a guru who explained to them the Shruti. There is no other way. So this kartritvadi vijnanam, even the knowledge that one is away from the body, they should first know that they are different from the body, and then they are the doers, etc., etc. These all form the precursors to this knowledge. Tadvat asyapi dehadi, where are we now? Yeah, tadvat tasyapi dehadishu atma buddhitvat nasyat sadatma vijnanam. So just like in this Purva, the first portion, the first khanda of the Veda, the karma kanda of the Veda, what does it say? It says you are accountable for your deeds even after you die. The concept of papa and punya are introduced. And with the help of this papa, punya, you have, punarjanma, all these things are introduced. How will they know this? They will know this through elders. They will know this through the Shastra alone. And then tadvat, in the same manner, this, how can the person, in the same manner that the person cannot have the buddhi, that he or she is karta bhokta without the help of the Shruti, kimu vattavyam, what to talk about? Atma jnanam. And then the Atma is taken to be finite. And then what is that? There is adhyasa, the fallacy centered on the self. A kind of an anyonya tadatmyam is there. What is anyonya tadatmyam? Anyonya adhyasa, identification. Tadatmyam means identification. Atmani anatma buddhi. In the Atma, which is what? Sadatma, Satchidanandam Brahma. One thinks of the Atma as mortal, expressed in the sentences, I am dying, I have only this much, and I have a sense of lack centered on the self, etc., etc. And then what? Then Anatmani Atma Buddhi. Taking everything that is finite in the world and then imbuing it with an infinitude that it doesn't have. That's why you want everything to last forever. And it will of course not last forever. And so this is what it is. So taking oneself to be what one is not, and not taking oneself to be what one is. Dehe atma buddhitvat sadatma vijnana will not be there because of this atma buddhi in the body, etc., etc. So this is why this knowledge is needed. And then tadvat tasyapi dehadishu, we saw that. Tasmat vikara anrita adhikrita jivatma vijnana nivartakam eva idam vakyam tattvamasi iti siddham iti. So therefore what? This is the final therefore, okay? So this is the therefore of all the therefores. So tasmat means therefore the sentence tattvamasi is determined by Bhashyakara to be nivartaka. Nivartaka means it has the meaning of negating or removing all the things that are responsible for the person to have sorrow. In other words, thinking oneself to be the karta. And then how is this accomplished? You are the cause of the Jagat. You are that which lends its existence to all the Nama Rupas. A given Nama Rupa is just taken as the very being. This is the Jiva. The Vikara Nama Rupa is Anritam, not Satyam, and the person who is fit to do this karma, such as, Brahmana, Krishna Keshaha, etc., son of so and so, all this, these Vikaras are taken to be real. The modifications of the Nama Rupa are taken to be real, and the person thinks of himself or herself as tiny, insignificant, etc. And this thinking is removed by the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. It doesn't need to add anything to you. It just takes away the wrong notions of what you perceive yourself to be. If you are bound, you are free. If you think you are bound, you are, that thought is dismissed, and then you are free. And so you are already free. So he says Siddham means the Tattvamasi Mahavakya definitely stands. Definitely stands. Because we've already seen there are two sides here. In Tat and Tvam. Tat is what? Jagat Karana. Jagat Karanam Brahma, the cause of the entire universe. And Tvam is the Jiva, here our Shvetaketu. And what is the Jagat? The Jagat is these three Murta elements. Tisro Devataha. And then which you can convert to 5 elements, whatever you want, which accounts for everything. This is what is the Jagat. The Jagat is Karya, which is not separate from the cause. The cause does not undergo any change to become the Jagat. Like even the clay doesn't undergo any change to quote unquote become the pot. So the Karya is Sad Brahma, Sadakhyam Brahma, which is described as Ekam Advitiyam. This is Tattvamasi. And how, and that is how it is understood. And because a given body, mind, sense complex is Karya, it is this individual who is the meaning of the word. What is Tvam? Tvam Shabda Vachya. And in this creation of the body, mind, sense complex, this one Atma is Anupravishta. It is that Sadatma which the Jagat was before it came into manifestation. And that Sat alone enters this body, mind, sense complex, enters within heavy quotes, and then without undergoing any change. This is the beauty. The cause created everything. The cause, became everything. The cause is called Ishvara. It became time, it became space, it became everything in time and space, and then without really becoming anything. This Parameshvara, having created the world, jumped into this world. This is very beautiful. Unlike so many other theologies where Bhagavan just created the world and went away somewhere and sat in a place called heaven, we don't have that. So then, where do I recognize this world? Whenever you experience the world, wherever you look, you see Bhagavan. Because the stars, when you see, you recognize the stars where? Even though the stars are light years away, where do you recognize them? Here, Buddhi. Whether we are talking of stars or whether we are talking of film stars, you still recognize them in the Buddhi. So, either whether they are celebrities or whether they are stars, you still recognize them right here in the Buddhi. In this small little space, you recognize everything. So the cause is in the very experiencer of the world. The cause is non-separate from the one, that is you, who is experiencing the world, because of whose presence you experience everything in the world, and whose existence lends to everything, who lends one's existence to everything. This is what is called Sadatma. Tad Satyam Sa Atma Tvamasi Shvetaketu. There is only one Sadvastu, one Ishvara, Sarvajna, limitless knowledge, and the Tvam Shabda Vachya, from the face of it. The direct meaning of the word Tvam yields the Jiva, Alpagnya, the one with finite knowledge. But really, that is why we say Lakshyartha, the limitless knowledge belongs to you. And that is Ishvara alone. Sadatma, Ishvara, free of limitations, Uh, that is from the standpoint of the total. From the individual point, it is jiva, doesn't matter. But this jivatvam is badhita, falsified, negated, as it were, sublated. So the truth is what? There's only one Satyam, knowing which all that is here is as well as known. Why? Because that Satyam is you. There is no other Sat Vastu independent of I. Therefore, idam sarvam aham asmi. That is what that is what this is the way in which the Mahavakya is analyzed, and then that is how he says this Tattvamasi iti siddham. Then we can read this iti Sri Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya Sri Govinda Bhagavat Pujyapada शिष्य श्रीमत् शंकर भगवतः कृतौ छांदोग्य उपनिषद भाष्ये षष्ठोध्यायः समाप्तः. Very nice to read. So here the what is it, there is a nod given to the guru, along with the name of the guru. Shankara's name is taken, and it says that this bhashya composed by this Paramahamsa Parivrajakaacharya. This is a way to address gurus of his caliber. So the one who is a sadhu in the true sense and a teacher, Sri Govinda Bhagavat Pada Govinda Bhagavat Pujya Pada Shishya. So this Shishya of the one that was called Pujya Govinda Pada, and then Govinda Bhagavat Pada, who is Sri Shankara Bhagavatah Kritau, and this is his Kriti, his composition, and this Chandogya Upanishad, this is the sixth chapter, is hereby concluded. And so now, what is there? So now I have one question. Who has attended all the sessions without missing even a single one? Is there anybody? Not even a single one? Of course, this is the honor system, okay? Yeah. Okay, nobody is there. All right. Has anybody only missed one session? Has anybody missed only one session? Yeah, who said yes? You have, Lalita, you have attended all of them? Is that what you said yes to?
I may have missed one session.
Huh?
I may have missed one session, is what I meant.
I can't hear. Can you speak up a little?
I may have missed one session, is what I'm thinking.
Okay, so Lalita and Shubha missed one session each. Very good, wonderful, fantastic, big hand. So, very nice. And so then, all of it, not all of the classes. Yeah. So, yeah, of course, you might have gone on YouTube and made that up, which is also very commendable. So in the time that we have, I thought it would be nice to open it up to see what is some takeaway. What is that? What is some highlight? And then, of course, if somebody else has already said the highlight that was in your heart, you'll have to find another highlight. Okay, so that's the thing. So you can unmute yourself, or you can write in the chat pod. Okay, yeah.
Kamini, one of the highlights that is coming to my mind right now is how everything goes back to Sat.
Yeah.
All the nectar from all the flowers becomes one kind of homogeneous honey.
Yeah.
That was one thing that is
Yeah.
coming to my mind now.
Very nice. Yes. Anybody else you want to share?
Somini ji, may I?
Yes, please.
No, I was thinking of how that gives rise to Papa and Punya because of the pressure. So when we hear the Mahavakyas, the difficulty is in understanding it. Believing it is one thing, that yes, it is like that, but understanding is taking a little time, because uh, I thought it could be because of the pressures of that Papa Punya that it doesn't happen. uh, uh, like when Swamis talk, you talk from experience, your own. If we say the same thing, that I am that, it doesn't hold that conviction. So just something to dwell on.
Oh, it will, and it does hold the conviction, because you see, the it's not, even though we say there are pratibandhas, obstacles to understanding, is, you can say, papa punya, but that papa punya is reversible, because you have free will now, and you can pray, you can, look into the blocks, and one can look into the blocks, one can pray, one can remove the, nullify to a certain extent the effect of papa and punya. So therefore, that is not like something fatalistic, and then it will come, it will be clear, because the more, clarity is not something that happens one time. Clarity is gradual. It's like when you want the flower to open, it doesn't open. The bud will be tightly closed. The next day also it will be tightly closed. After a few days it will open a little bit, little bit, then it will be fully blossomed. Knowledge is like that. So that which causes the heart to be tightly closed will melt. It will definitely melt. And in time it will definitely take place. So not to worry. So then, yeah, that was so nothing, there is no, it is a form of clarity. And then I could see that people enjoyed this, and people were very, very, I commend all of you on on your tenacity and perseverance. Everybody attended and showed a great sincerity, because of which we were able to do this. I don't know when we started. How many months did it take? We started last.
Started in May.
Yeah, that's
May
what I thought. April or May. We started in May. And
22nd May, 22nd May,
oh,
exactly
22nd of
1 year.
May. So
Oh,
22nd
I
of
mean,
May to, so 8 months or something, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, 8 months, and so that's what I had said earlier. Maybe 7-8 months it will take, and that's basically what it is. So that's a lot of that's a lot of dedication and commitment. So that's wonderful. So then there are some messages online. The possibility of a transformation from ignorance to knowledge, as seen as young Shweta Ketu, is very encouraging. Yes, that's the whole idea. And that each of us can transition in the same manner. Yes, absolutely. And then Tattvamasi is not an injunction or an aspiration, but a revelation of the truth of oneself. Yes. Heard but not yet sounded are the depths of the clearly heard teaching. Yes. Wonderful. I'm not the doer or the done in, I'm Sat, and everything is as though. This is my takeaway. Very nice takeaway. Enjoy it. And then referring to the phalam of this knowledge as kartritva, bhoktritva, भोक्तृत्वयोः अधिकार तत्त्वविज्ञान विज्ञान तत्त्वविज्ञान निवृत्तिः tasya phalam, as nivritti from the doer and experiences, stays with me strongly. Very nice. A lot to ponder over, just like how jiva fold over like the speech to the mind, mind to prana, etc., etc., and move on from one rental apartment to another, made one think that what we think was me was all given and will be taken away. It is, uh, it is to use better to gain ultimate freedom and be what we really are. Very well expressed. Wonderful. Any other thoughts, insights, ideas you want to share?
Swamiji?
Yes.
May I? So I was not here at the beginning, but I love the way there's this summary at the end. It was such a highlight. I haven't seen the way other Shastras pull it together like that. It's very beautiful.
Yes.
And then he says, Shastra, as you translate, Shastra is a means of knowledge to talk about whatever you cannot know by another means.
Right.
It was wonderful. And then in addition to that kind of grand ending, I love the arguments against why you don't just repeat something, and also the arguments about how those with knowledge are still alive.
Yes.
Those are two problems that have been, bothering me for a while, and I love the way Adi Shankar explains them.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you very much. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Hello, Swamiji. It was
Yeah,
really,
please.
the whole, the chapter itself was so beautiful. The sixth chapter with all these six, the clues. And I mean, with all these examples and all that, was really nice. And also the way, for me, the way Adi Shankara's, how he's analyzing, how he's thinking, and the entire with all the arguments back and forth, I think it helps us understand and assimilate in a much better way.
Yes.
Bhashya study itself is very unique compared to the way we do the Mulam study versus the Bhashya study.
Yeah.
That's so detailed, it helps us assimilate in a much better way.
Yes. Very well said, because the Bhashya study, what it does is that it helps you to firm up all the things that are there. It helps you to firm it up. And so that detail it leads to clarity. Of course, the interest must be there. And if the interest is there, it will definitely lead to some great clarity. Yes.
Amini,
Yeah.
my highlight was how this explanation about how water, fire, and earth are working together, and that one cannot exist without the other, and they are on each other, and how they build the jiva, and how they leave. This is what the body comes in and what goes, and this was my highlight. I need to say.
Very well done. That was
Yes.
Beautifully done. Yes.
May I, Swaminiji?
Of course, please.
Yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, especially from coming from that modern seeker with an oversized head. I just felt like that really fits me when you explains. So that kind of, I think, was pulling factor for me when I started listening from the beginning. Especially, this is, I think, my first Bhashya class. I have attended few other Upanishads, but they are all more not like a Bhashya. So I think that really pulled me when
very nice.
it was talking about how Swetaketu was explained. And the other highlight it stuck in my head now is about how the process of death was so nicely explained. I have not yet seen one like that. So I think that was, and you handled it so well with joy. It was not making us feel like we are talking about death. It was such a joke, and we all laughed, and it was really nice.
It's all Puja Swamiji and Adi Shankara, and it feels like somehow blessed to be in kind of conversation between these gurus. Very, very nice. And so the whole what is that? Jana Simam, where each one comes and asks. That was really indeed very hilarious. And you got a lot of poems on this chapter. Yes, Lakshmi wrote one poem for one class. I think there should be about 50 poems by now.
Yes, I'll try to put all of them together and
put all of them together. Yeah, so
Swamiji, my question is, are you starting 7th chapter also soon? Because I missed,
ah,
for some reasons, I missed all of these classes and
mm.
yeah,
The classes are all there on YouTube, Arunaji.
yeah, that I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but listening to you,
Yeah, yeah.
online
Listening
was
live
much
is
better.
different. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we could do chapter 7. It is very
Yeah.
worthy of study also. But what I thought was we will, take a little, we'll go to Taittiriya Upanishad, the
Okay.
second chapter of the Taittiriya Upanishad, where, because see, we already have some idea of Sat, and there we go to Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So that is, of course, not for the faint of heart. And so, this I am hoping that this discipline that one has acquired here, the discipline and the desire, the discipline, and the determination. So that is Bhashya in 3D. Okay, so that one has acquired here will carry over to Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma also.
So when you
That is
think
my
you are
hope.
starting Saturday,
Sorry?
when, when you are going to start
I
Saturday?
thought we'll take tomorrow off because we deserve
Okay.
it. And then what we will do is start next weekend.
Okay. All right.
29th or something. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
twenty
you.
ninth we will start. 29th, 30th, that last weekend in January. There's one more Saturday, Sunday, am I correct?
There's one more, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the next Saturday, Sunday. So next week from today we will start. Tomorrow we'll take the morning off. So that is the idea. Then there
Thank
is,
you, Swamiji.
I have heard Guru whole teaching scripture, whole to student, whole cannot be anything other than whole. Yes, true. Guru whole, student whole, teaching whole. And if we don't know this, one is in the whole. Okay, yeah. Any other thoughts anybody would like to share?
I would like to add something, Swamiji. It
Please.
was wonderful. The whole class was um, very interesting, and like it is how every Purvapakshis, every argument, how Shankara, responded with that Pramanya Buddhi. That was the major takeaway for me. The way that he looked at the question, the way he kept everything together, not leaving out a small detail, and that was just amazing.
Yes.
And another thing is, like, when you mentioned about the upakrama upasamhara upapatti arthavada palavat, and then that made me go back and see what was taught earlier, to
Yes.
see with that view, like how the introduction was given,
Yeah.
how it was explained. So I went back and put everything together again. It was
Yes.
very nice, Swaminiji. As a whole, it was an amazing class. Thank you so
Yes, yes.
much.
We just all Puja Swamiji's grace. That's all. All
But
Guru.
Swaminiji, I want to thank you for giving us this teaching. I came in very late because I don't know. I came here I think in October or some because before I didn't know you. So I appreciate every class the way you've been teaching this with so much humor, and you took. I mean, you didn't took only me, but you took, I think, everyone by heart and by buddhi, my cheetah. You took us all with in this. So this was the most amazing thing, and I really I appreciate it so much, and I want to thank you for this, Swami.
Thank you. And I think, it's always a wonder how this knowledge works on Zoom is a big wonder to me. I mean, here everybody is just smaller than a postage stamp, so many things. And in fact, when I taught at the Gurukulam, I was just in a little bit of a shock. The first day I was like, oh, all these people, they have bodies. They're not just little heads. And the people are there. So after 2 years of just, doing this, but somehow this works because because of the last point that Adi Shankara makes, that adhikaritvam is there. Adhikaritvam includes moksha me bhuyad iti tivra ichha. That is a part of adhikaritvam. May there be moksha for me, like this, a very strong desire, that itself is part of adhikaritvam, and that strong desire was there. because really this is not possible unless one is blessed with blessed with people who are adhikaris even on Zoom. Amazing. It was just really, really, really amazing. And so that was very, very nice, very wonderful. And to bring this to a completion is itself a blessing, because so many things, there could be a some pratibandha, some obstacles could be there, but somehow this was very, very obstacle free.
Yeah, only these classes you just feel when I take the Bhagavad Gita class, just feels like I don't have any sense of time. They are so much absorbing.
Yes, yes, yes.
And 1 hour pass, I don't even feel that I was sitting there for 1 hour.
Yeah, when there is,
Thank you so much,
yeah,
Swamiji.
thank you. And when there is the desire, it fills up everything. That's what happens. Any other thoughts anybody would like to share? Radhika, you can say something. I can't hear. We can't hear you for some reason.
Now, Swamiji,
Yes,
you're here.
yes.
I'm just feeling so grateful. I'm crying because this is the greatest blessing. So it's been wonderful to be in this process in such a relaxed way, and to know that for the first time ever, I don't have to do anything, and I can see how the pramana is operating, and I look forward to these classes so much. So thank you.
Excellent. Very, very nice. Wonderful. And then one more comment here. Grateful to teach Bhashya in a way that makes it easy to understand and grasp heavy duty Shastra teaching. Yes, indeed, it is heavy duty. True. So thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Kamleji, one comment from my side.
Please.
Yeah, I personally felt like I was sitting in front of Adi Shankara, and Adi Shankara is directly teaching me. This particular chapter really felt special that way for me. Thank you for all the teaching.
Yes, there is an atmiyata in this chapter. There is a kind of what should I say, an intimacy in this chapter, that what you say is correct. You really feel very close. You feel Uddalaka is teaching you. You feel like you are yourself Shetaketu and you're directly being taught. You feel Adi Shankara is teaching. There is some kind of there is an immediacy and an intimacy there, which is a very beautiful quality of this chapter. And the next one will have no stories. Okay, this is just to tell you what we are graduating into. It will have no stories, and it will have no jokes, maybe one or two. Okay, we'll have a few jokes, no stories, and it will just be Shastra, Shastra, Shastra personified. Ready for it? Yeah? Okay. Good.
Yes.
So, wonderful. So we will do that. So as I said, we will say, what is the next Saturday? Please tell me. Date?
29th.
28th, yeah. So
29th.
29th, yeah, 29th. So 29th morning for people in America, we will do that, yeah. So then we will just, close here, and then we will see each other, not tomorrow, but next week. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yanksho Bharahitah ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ